broadcasting live in Makati. This is the Rajah Broadcasting Network Incorporated, DZRJ AM 810 kHz, a proud member of the KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcasters sa Pilipinas. Ang balitang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng PAGCOR, PCSO at ng Social Security System or SSS. DZRJ 810 AM is now global. Live mula sa Voice of America, narito na, sumasa inyo sa DZRJ 810 AM ang mga kaganapan sa iba't ibang panig ng daigdig. DZRJ 810 AM, now global.
Angolan President Jose Eduardo dos Santos says he and South African President Jacob Zuma have agreed to cooperate on oil projects. Mr. dos Santos says the two leaders agreed that South Africa and Angola's state-owned oil companies will collaborate on oil exploration, refining, and distribution. Angola's president spoke after meeting Thursday with Mr. Zuma in Angola's capital, Luanda, for talks aimed at creating strategic ties between the two countries. The two men also signed agreements in such areas as trade and transportation. South Africa's main union is threatening to call a strike against Impala Platinum, the second largest platinum producer in the world. Officials from the National Union of Mine Workers warned on Thursday they will call for a strike to begin Monday if a wage dispute is not settled with the company by then. The UN Food Agency plans to increase airdrops over parts of southern Sudan, facing food shortages made worse by deadly tribal clashes. The World Food Programme says the additional food will be dropped in places like the Akobo area of Jonglei State. Recent attacks in the area by southern Sudanese tribesmen killed 185 people, mostly women and children from a rival tribe. Heavy fighting in central Somalia between pro-government forces and Islamic militants killed at least 33 people Thursday. Witnesses and local officials say the fighting began when government troops and allied militias attacked Islamic militants in the town of Bula Burte. The town, which is located about 200 kilometers north of Mogadishu, had been under the control of Al-Shabaab, Somalia's most prominent insurgent group. Ethiopia has confirmed that pro-government militias from neighboring Somalia are using Ethiopian territory as a base to launch attacks on rebel forces. Spokesman Bereka Simon says Ethiopia has not and will not stop its military support to Somalia's transitional federal government. He says pro-government Somali militias have permission to use Ethiopia as a base of operations in attacking Al-Shabaab rebels who control large sections of southern Somalia.
When the force of the TFG attack the Al-Shabaab and score victories, we don't care from which geographical position they start the attack. But I assure you, this is a Somali operation.
The French Foreign Ministry says a ship carrying an underwater robot has arrived in waters off the coast of Comoros to retrieve the flight data recorders from a Yemeni airliner that crashed in June. A French Navy vessel detected the recorders last month on a sloping surface of the seabed too deep for divers to reach. The specialized robots will search for the recorders and attempt to bring them to the surface. Mining officials in the Democratic Republic of Congo say 81 miners were killed in a landslide at a diamond mine in the central part of the country. Officials say the accident occurred late Thursday at a state-owned diamond mine in the eastern Kasai province. A Nigerian high court ruled Thursday that the government wrongly revoked oil exploration licenses granted to a South Korean oil consortium. The court's ruling upheld a previous ruling in favor of the Korea National Oil Corporation, which filed a lawsuit to have 2 offshore oil licenses restored. The government of Nigeria has deported 300 suspected members of an Islamist sect to neighboring Niger. In news from elsewhere around the world, Afghan officials say they managed to opened 95% of polling stations in Thursday's presidential and provincial elections, despite threats by the Taliban to disrupt the vote. Observers say voter turnout appears to have been markedly lower than it was in the country's first democratic elections in 2004, particularly in the southern regions where the Taliban has a stronghold. That's the news from the Voice of America in Washington.